Wait, what? Billy dropped out of high school? I was shocked when I heard that. How can someone with such a poor education keep living like that? If I were in her shoes, I'd be so embarrassed I couldn't even imagine it.
Huh? What do you mean by that? Yes, I did drop out of high school. I chased my dreams. But suddenly... What? Are you making fun of me?
You can't even read between the lines, huh? I'm not making fun of you. I'm just stating the facts.
Is that so? Sorry, but I've never been embarrassed about my education. I've been living my life to the fullest, the best I can, and it shows in my results.
Oh, really? So you're a comic artist, right? I bet you're just drawing useless pictures, aren't you? Becoming a big shot in that field is something only a tiny handful of people manage to do. You talk about following your dreams, but it seems like you're not even facing reality. Maybe it's time to stop hiding away and start doing something for your parents instead.
Well, I'm managing just fine, thank you. There's nothing to worry about. Sure, I might spend time on my own and not leave the house much, but I make sure to take care of the household expenses. Even though I live with my parents, I think I'm still doing my part and showing them some appreciation.
Oh, I see. So you have to tell yourself that just to survive, huh? I get it. You're living a pretty lame life. Maybe you should start thinking about marriage, huh? If you keep hiding away, you'll never find a boyfriend.
That's none of your business. I'm content with my work right now, and I'm not really thinking about anything else.
Oh, please. You can't get a boyfriend because you're ugly, right? But you know, someone like you, a failed comic artist, really should get married. It'd be nice to have a husband to cover living expenses, right? Then you could focus on your hobbies without any worries, just like I do. I plan on continuing my handmade crafts as a hobby, but once I'm married, I'll have my husband covering the living expenses. That way, I can enjoy my hobbies stress-free, and it's the best situation for me.
I understand that's your perspective, but it's not the way I see things. Please don't try to put your worldview on me. I live my life based on my own values, so I don't need your concern.
So, you're one of those people who wants to live in a way that's different from everyone else, huh? There are people like that, but in the end, we all depend on others to survive, right? You might call yourself a manga artist, but if you can't even support yourself, what good is it?
This is my house, so you don't have the right to tell me how to live. Just leave me alone.
Whatever. Well, I'm just saying, don't come running to me if something goes wrong. If you get kicked out, I'm not letting you stay with me, and I won't give you any money either.
I understand that. I wasn't planning on relying on you anyway. But is it okay for you to act so arrogantly before even getting married? Remember, I'm your fiancé's sister, after all.
That's why I'm saying this, just to make sure. Once we get married, we'll be a new family. I don't want you interfering with us.
Okay, I understand. Don't worry, I'm fine.
Hey, haven't you heard? We're having some big-name guests at our wedding.
So what? Why would someone pour wine on me the moment I meet them? What did I do to deserve this? Why is this happening to me?
Well, it's because you're too stupid to understand. You haven't done anything to deserve to be here.
Huh? What do you mean by that?
We invited some big-name guests to the wedding, and having you here would just be embarrassing. If you understand your place now, just disappear.
Are you really saying this?
Yeah, it's a really important reason. I don't need you in my life. So, if you understand your position, don't get involved with us anymore.
So, if that's how you feel, I understand. I'll pass my regards to the guests.
Just leave quietly.
I will. Thank you.
Billy, where are you right now? Come back to the venue immediately. There was a mistake earlier. I totally misunderstood you.
Huh? What now? Who are you exactly? Lol.
I'm your sister-in-law, JC. I apologize for what happened earlier. So come back right now. Where are you?
There's no way I'm coming back, lol. I went there and got wine spilled all over me as soon as I arrived, lol. The dress I worked hard to prepare is ruined. This is seriously the worst.
I'm sorry. The dress doesn't matter at all. What matters is you coming back.
It doesn't matter? What are you saying, lol? It doesn't matter to you, but it matters to me. I'm going to make sure you pay for that ruined dress.
All right, we can talk about that later, okay? But honestly, I never thought you'd be such a big guest. You're the one who wrote that manga, The Retreating Dwarf, right?
Oh, did my brother tell you about it? That's true, but it has nothing to do with you, right?
I love that movie, too. I have all the volumes. It even got a cartoon adaptation. It's a super popular work. I can't believe you're the one who wrote it.
Thanks for the royalties. I'll be counting on your continued support.
Of course. So please come back right now. Everyone is really looking forward to hearing from you.
No, I don't think so. That's it. I'm busy, so let's call it quits.
Hold on! You're the big guest my brother invited, right? He's so disappointed right now. If you don't come, the whole venue is going to be totally down.
What's the big deal? It doesn't concern me. We've been told to cut ties anyway. I'm living the life I want, the one where I'm different from others, just like you said. If you want to emphasize togetherness here, whatever.
Don't say things like that. It's our wedding today. I want you to indulge me at least today.
Huh? The wedding's only important to you. To me, it's just another regular day. I've taken time out of my busy schedule to come, but I didn't expect to come home smelling like wine, and I'm not even drunk, so it's just the smell. This is the worst. I'm actually relieved that I'm cutting ties with you.
Please, take that back. Please come back. I'm begging you.
Is it true that my brother is disappointed?
Huh?
He's not disappointed. He's completely furious, isn't he? He's pissed off because of what you did to me, right?
Well,
lying to manipulate me into coming is the lowest thing you can do. I'm definitely telling my brother about this, lol.
Hold on. I'm sorry, I exaggerated a little. I thought maybe saying it that way would make you feel more sympathy.
I don't have any sympathy for the idiot my brother chose. You're the one who insulted me. He's the one who picked you. Now he knows everything, and he's been apologizing to me. And he said you don't have to come to the venue anymore. I'm glad my brother understands.
Wait, don't bring that up. It's not too late. I'll apologize properly. Let's make up.
What? Are you really trying to guilt trip me? Lol. If I were a truly unsuccessful manga artist, you would have just ignored me. Lol. But now you want me to come for your benefit, right? You think I'll just hop to it because of that? Lol. Don't think you can manipulate me, trashy woman. Lol.
But my brother is really furious. He says he's going to cancel the wedding if you don't come. You didn't think it would go this far, did you?
Well, my brother loves me, you know. I even bought a new house for my parents, so they can't say no to me. I pay most of their living expenses.
Huh? You bought a new house for your parents?
Yeah, that's right. You seem to be confused, but the house I'm talking about is mine, not theirs. My parents could have continued living in the rented house they were in before, but they wanted to live with me in the house I bought, so I let them. So technically, it's my house, not the family home. But since my parents live there, it still kind of feels like home. But it's my house, and that's what matters.
Wow, a famous manga artist buying houses, huh?
Flattering me is pointless. You're already on my list of people I don't like, so there's no way I'll ever like you.
You don't have to say it like that. Fine, but please, just for today. If you come, things will get better, I promise.
I don't care about you and my brother getting married. I think this is better, honestly. Lol.
Don't say that. I've already quit my job to get married. My whole life is moving forward with that in mind.
I couldn't care less about your situation, lol. It has nothing to do with me, lol. Well, that's that, like you said. I'm cutting ties with you, lol. If you're not marrying my brother, there's no reason to stay connected at all, lol.
So, I'm sorry, okay?
I won't accept your apology. Goodbye, lol.
Billy, it seems like yesterday was quite a tough day for you. Thank you for your hard work.
Oh no, thank you. I'm sorry for suddenly contacting you yesterday. I was splashed with wine and then I just felt like having a drink. I ended up reaching out to you. Thank you for putting up with me.
I thought something serious had happened. I had heard that you had been taking the day off for your brother's wedding, so I thought there must have been some kind of big trouble. Well, there was some kind of trouble, but it wasn't as bad as it might seem.
You were also off work, right? I'm sorry to drag you into this in the middle of your day off.
No, I was just lazing around. You made my day a little more interesting by talking about the events from yesterday, so it ended up being a good holiday. Thank you.
I'm glad you think so.
By the way, about yesterday's story, do you think it could turn into something for my work? It could be a new project, or maybe just a small fan service, or even a post for your big blog, since it's quite popular.
Ah, you're right. It seems like feel-good stories are really popular these days. I'm not sure if I could write it, but I might try making a little side story out of it. I mean, you don't see a woman like that every day.
Exactly. Let's turn it into a story.
All right, I'll go with that. When I finish putting it together, can I invite you for a drink again?
If it's me, I'd love to.
Hey, are you okay? I mean, I was supposed to attack you and throw you off the pedestrian bridge, but I ended up falling myself. It was really one of those moments, you know, when you slip and fall, all in one smooth motion.
Don't joke around! How could you dodge that? Do you have eyes in the back of your head or something?
Well, I am a black belt in karate, but I didn't do anything, really. You just slipped on your own and fell. I simply avoided you trying to hit me.
I can't believe you dodged me like that! I fell all the way down the stairs and broke my bone!
Oh, that's unfortunate. But when you try to hurt others, these things happen. They say if you curse someone, you'll fall into the same pit, right? Unfortunately, you're the only one who ended up in that pit.
I can't forgive you! I'm going to sue you for this!
No, that's not gonna work. There are several witnesses, and if anyone is suing, it'll be me suing you.
That's ridiculous! I'm the one who got hurt!
Well, that's your own fault. You're the one who tried to push me, and now you're still coming at me. What's your deal? Why would you attack me?
Didn't you write a comic about me? It became a super popular series, and now it's all over social media. That comic, the one that looks exactly like my wedding story. What's up with that?
Oh, so you noticed. I didn't expect you to still care about me after all this. You didn't need to check on it, you know? Looks like you're a fan of mine.
I don't want to hear about that! It's so messed up! Is it really that satisfying for you that I couldn't marry your brother?
Well, yeah, it was pretty satisfying. I mean, I had wine thrown at me and it was a disaster, so I had to turn it into a funny story, right?
You use other people's misery as material! My wedding got cancelled. I've had to pay for your dress, and now I'm also being asked for the venue costs and damages. On top of that, I have to go back to my job where I had planned to retire. Everyone there is giving me the cold shoulder. Nobody's asking anything. It's so uncomfortable.
Wow, that sounds pretty fun. The person you've been mean to turns out to be a big-name manga artist, and now you're ruined? That's really satisfying. Thanks for providing more material.
Oh, so now you're the one making a mess out of my life, huh? You've really ruined everything for me. I had to go back to my old job because of you, and now people are treating me like garbage.
Well, yeah, it's your fault. You tried to hurt me, and now you're reaping what you sow. You should be careful, you know, before you do something even worse. No need to get all upset. Just enjoy the karma that's coming your way.
You think this is karma? You're the one who's really going to get it. Once I'm done with you, you'll regret everything.
Well, before that, you'll probably be arrested. I'm definitely filing a police report.
What? If you do that, your brother's ex-fiancé will be arrested too. You really want that to happen?
That sounds great. Life is all about the story, right? Plus, I'm not even getting hurt in any of this. I'm just sitting back and enjoying the show.
You're the worst. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of garbage comic artist you are.
Feel free to do that. But trust me, you're better off not doing anything foolish. If you keep going, you'll just dig your own grave. How does it feel knowing that a dropout like me is laughing at you? You're the one who needs to watch your back. Go ahead, fall into your own pit of hell. I reported JC to the authorities immediately and left the rest to the police. It was a difficult decision, but in the end, I knew it was the right one. I couldn't allow someone like JC to continue causing harm or disrupting my life. The whole situation felt surreal, as if it were something from one of my own stories. But the reality was much more frightening than any fictional drama. After I reported the incident, the police took over the investigation, and I had to trust that they would handle everything from that point forward. However, as much as I tried to distance myself from the situation, the fear of something like this happening again lingered in the back of my mind. The sense of vulnerability, knowing that someone had come after me like that, was something that wouldn't easily go away. I couldn't just stay in the same place and risk being targeted again, so I decided to move. It wasn't just about escaping the fear of what JC might do next. It was also about taking back control of my life. The place I had lived in, the place where everything had unfolded, no longer felt safe. It was time to start fresh, to leave behind the memories of fear and tension that had been building for so long. I moved to a new apartment, one that felt like a clean slate. But I wasn't just moving for my own peace of mind. I also needed a way to support myself financially while I rebuilt my life. I didn't want to depend on anyone else, especially not after everything that had happened with JC. So I made the decision to rent out my old home. The income from renting it would help me with my expenses while I adjusted to the new chapter in my life. It wasn't an ideal situation, but it was one that allowed me to maintain my independence, which was something I desperately needed at that point. JC, of course, wasn't going to go down without a fight. She was furious when she realized that her actions had been exposed, and she couldn't stand the thought of someone getting the upper hand over her. As she tried to retaliate, she turned to social media, desperate to shift the narrative in her favor. She began spreading lies, telling everyone that I was a terrible person, a horrible manga artist with a bad reputation. She was determined to paint me in the worst possible light, to make it seem like I was the one who had wronged her in some way. But her plan backfired. And it backfired spectacularly. By publicly airing her grievances and trying to discredit me, she ended up revealing her true nature to the world. What she didn't realize, or perhaps what she underestimated, was that I wasn't afraid to tell my side of the story. So I shared everything, every detail of what had happened. From the initial confrontation to the terrifying moments when I felt like my life was at risk, I didn't hold back. I wanted everyone to know the truth, to see just how dangerous and manipulative JC could be. Instead of gaining sympathy, JC only dug herself deeper. The more she tried to demonize me, the more she exposed herself for what she truly was, a psycho who was willing to go to extreme lengths to protect her own image, even if it meant hurting others in the process. People started to see through her lies, and the story of what had happened spread. The truth was out there now, and there was no going back. JC's attempt to ruin my reputation ended up ruining hers instead. It didn't take long for her to lose everything. Her workplace found out about her behavior, and the criminal charges that were piling up against her. She was fired, and with no job to support her, her financial situation deteriorated rapidly. She became a pariah, not only at work, but also within her own family. Her relatives disowned her, disgusted by the things she had done, and she was left with nothing. In the end, she found herself completely isolated, with no one left to turn to. It was clear that her actions had caught up with her in a way she had never anticipated. It's strange, really, how quickly everything can change. One moment, JC had seemed so powerful and in control, trying to manipulate everyone around her, but in the end, her own lies and malicious behavior led to her downfall. As much as I had feared what might happen when I reported her, seeing the consequences of her actions unfold before her eyes was oddly satisfying. It felt like justice had been served, but it also made me wonder how far someone like JC would go when they had nothing left to lose. In the end, I was left to pick up the pieces of my own life. It wasn't easy, and the scars of what I had gone through would never completely fade. But I was determined not to let the experience define me. I had taken control of my situation, and despite everything that had happened, I was moving forward. My new life wasn't perfect, but it was mine, and I was going to make the most of it. As for JC, well, I suppose she'll have to live with the consequences of her own actions. From the way things have gone, it seems she's learned the hard way that you can't always get away with hurting others, no matter how much you try to manipulate the situation. I don't know what will happen to her in the future, but it's clear that she's not the person she once was. She's a cautionary tale, a reminder that the truth always has a way of coming out, no matter how much you try to hide it. And as for me, I'm just trying to rebuild. I've learned a lot from this experience, and while it's been one of the toughest times in my life, I'm stronger now than I was before. I've learned to trust myself, to stand up for what's right, and to not let anyone dictate my happiness or my future. And with time, I know things will get better. They already are. On the other hand, I started dating Mike, someone I've been working with, after we became close during a wedding reception. It all began when we found ourselves talking late into the evening at the wedding, enjoying each other's company in a way that felt natural and effortless. At the time, I didn't think much of it, just a pleasant conversation with someone who was also there to celebrate. But as the evening went on, we found ourselves laughing and sharing stories, and there was this undeniable connection between us. The way Mike spoke about his work, his values, and even his hopes for the future. It all struck a chord with me. I was impressed by his sincerity, and by the time we parted ways that night, we had already exchanged numbers. It was one of those moments where everything seemed to align just perfectly. A simple conversation turned into something more, and without even realizing it, we were both already thinking about how we could spend more time together. Over the following weeks, we kept in touch, texting, calling, and occasionally meeting for coffee or dinner. It felt easy to talk to him. It was like we'd known each other for years, even though it had only been a short time since we met. The more I learned about him, the more I liked what I heard. Mike had a calm, grounded nature that balanced my more spontaneous side, and I appreciated that. I remember the first time we went out on a proper date. It wasn't anything extravagant, just a simple dinner at a cozy restaurant where we could talk and get to know each other better. I was nervous, of course, but I also felt this sense of excitement. There was something about Mike that made me feel comfortable, like I could truly be myself around him. We talked about everything. Our families, our childhoods, our favorite movies and books. There was so much common ground between us, and yet, our differences made the conversations even more interesting. He had this thoughtful way of listening, always genuinely interested in what I had to say. I found myself looking forward to our next meeting before we had even finished the first one. As time went on, we grew closer, and it became clear that there was more to our relationship than just casual dating. We both started thinking about the future. Conversations that began with what if slowly turned into when and how. There was this unspoken understanding between us that we were both open to the idea of a deeper commitment. Something beyond just a few dates. And so, over time, our connection solidified into a relationship. We spent holidays together, met each other's friends, and shared our dreams. Every time I learned something new about Mike, I found myself admiring him more and more. He had this quiet strength about him, a sense of stability that was comforting and reassuring. I had never met anyone like him before, someone who was so patient, so thoughtful, and so easy to talk to. There were no games with Mike. He was upfront, honest, and direct, and that honesty was something I valued immensely. It wasn't long before we started talking about the possibility of marriage. At first, it was just a conversation. We joked about it, imagining what our wedding might look like, what kind of ceremony we would have, and where we would go for our honeymoon. But as those conversations continued, we both realized that this was something we both wanted. It wasn't just about the idea of a wedding day. It was about building a future together. We talked about our values, our goals, and the kind of life we wanted to create. It felt like we were on the same page in so many ways, and that gave me a sense of peace and excitement about the future. Mike wasn't the kind of person who rushed into decisions, and I respected that. He wanted to make sure that we were both ready, that we both felt secure in the relationship before taking the next step. I understood that. Marriage wasn't something to be taken lightly, and I appreciated his careful approach. But even so, we both knew that we were ready for it. We had spent enough time together, gotten to know each other well enough, and shared enough experiences to understand that we wanted to be in each other's lives for the long haul. The idea of marriage became less of a distant thought and more of a natural progression of our relationship. In many ways, it felt like everything was falling into place. The timing, the connection, the way our lives seemed to align. For the first time in a long while, I felt certain about something, after everything I had gone through before. With all the challenges and heartaches, it was incredibly comforting to know that I had found someone who made me feel loved and appreciated in a way that was different from anything I had experienced. I felt truly seen by Mike, and I knew that he felt the same way about me. One evening, after we had been together for a few months, Mike took me out to a beautiful restaurant overlooking the city. It was a special evening. He had planned it as a celebration of our relationship, of everything we had built together. As we sat there, enjoying our meal and the view, he turned to me with a look in his eyes that I hadn't seen before. It was a look of certainty, of commitment, and that was when he asked me the question that I had been waiting for. He asked me if I would marry him. The moment felt surreal. I wasn't sure if I should be crying or laughing or both, but in that instant, I knew that this was the right decision. I said yes without hesitation. And everything after that seemed to happen in a blur of excitement and joy. We talked about the details of the wedding, the people we wanted to invite, the kind of ceremony we envisioned. It wasn't about the extravagance of the event, it was about the commitment we were making to each other. The rest of the world could wait. In that moment, it was just us. Now, as I look back on everything that has happened, I can't help but feel grateful. Grateful for the love and support Mike has shown me. Grateful for the way our relationship has blossomed, and grateful for the new chapter that we're about to begin together. It's not just about the wedding anymore. It's about building a life, creating a future, and navigating the challenges that come our way side by side. In many ways, I feel like I found my person, the one who makes me feel safe, loved, and understood. With Mike, I'm not just dreaming about the future, I'm building it one step at a time. And for the first time in a long while, I'm truly excited about what lies ahead. There will undoubtedly be obstacles along the way, but with him by my side, I know that we can handle anything. It's funny how life works out sometimes. It wasn't what I expected, but it's exactly what I needed. And as we move forward, ready to take on the next chapter together, I couldn't be more excited for the journey that awaits. So, in the end, I guess you could say it's a happy ending. A beginning, really. A new chapter where the future is full of possibilities. And with Mike by my side, I know that whatever comes our way, we'll face it together. It's not just the happily ever after you see in fairy tales. It's something more real, more grounded, a partnership built on trust, love, and mutual respect. And I can't wait to see where this next chapter takes us.